Hello, silver fans. This is T, and you're in the place to be for silver education, acquisition, and entertainment. Hey, a guest who is a rock star in the silver stacking community. Let's interview Silver Dragons.
T.
All right. Hey, Silver Dragons, welcome to the channel. It is such an honor to have you with me today.
Oh, thank you so much, T. It's an honor to be here.
I've been having a lot of fun with interviews lately, and I think you caught my last one with Salivate Metal. And just like Sal, you are on my Mount Rushmore of silver stacking YouTubers that I created, gosh, like a year and a half ago. It was one of my very first videos. And you were an influence on me early on, and you continue to be. So thanks for joining me.
Absolutely, T. You know, I saw that interview with Sal. I gotta say, I love listening to Uncle Sal. He's awesome. He's like the godfather of the community. You know, you're a great member of the community as well. And that was a great video. I remember, I think Joker and Yankee were both in that one too, right?
That's right. And, you know, I've already interviewed Sal, Joker, and now you're coming on. So Yankee is the last one. So maybe I'll get lucky and have an opportunity to interview him someday. But so, as I mentioned, you were really, really influential, and I'm sure you hear that from a lot of people. But let me ask you, you know, going back, who are some of the influential channels that you watch, whether they're still around or not? How did you get into the whole YouTube thing?
Yeah, you know, I started YouTube about, oh goodness, maybe a little over 4 years ago.
What is up, YouTube? Silver Baggins here.
And when I first got on, I was watching people like Sal, Silver Bean Counter, Losing Louie, and a lot of them are still, I think actually all of them are still putting out great content.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of community that was already there when I started. And you know what? They just accepted me with open arms. And this is definitely one of the best communities in the world. And I hope more people start channels, more people get involved with this community, because it's just a bunch of generous people. And like, you know, UT, we love your videos. You've got a great personality and really great content. So, you know, I love watching you. I love watching as many different people as I can, but you know, I don't have a lot of free time because I got little kids and you know, I work and do YouTube and all these things. So but I watch as much as I can, and it's just a wonderful community.
Yeah, it sure is. I heard people saying that before I became a YouTuber, and I found it to be true, and over and over and over again. And the other cool thing that I've really noticed is it's a global community. I've got folks that watch my little channel everywhere from Holland to Australia and around the world. You know, it's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Backyard Bullion puts out great videos over I think he's in the UK.
Yeah.
And there's people in Australia, New Zealand, Mexico. Yeah, lots of people in the community. And it's really cool. I mean, usually in my videos when I'm talking about like the dollar and silver and stuff, and I'll try and remember, like, you know, the dollar or whatever currency you use in your country, you know, because you're very right. There's a lot of people around the world that are involved, which is great. More people need to understand what silver is.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And you mentioned one of the great ones there, Backyard Bullion. And that kind of is a perfect lead in because he does a lot of silver pours and he's just a master. And I know that is something that you really enjoy and are very good at. So tell me a little bit about pouring silver and how'd you get into that, man?
Well, honestly, first of all, Backyard Bullion is amazing. He does incredible work, and beyond him, though, there's so many other silver pourers that are so incredibly talented, way more talented than myself. I love watching them make stuff, and you know, I like to buy stuff from other pourers, add it to my collection, And yeah, it's almost a different community too. Like there's the silver stacking community and the silver pouring community.
Mhm.
And I got started literally just watching YouTube videos of like Bunker Bullion, Hi-Ho Silver pouring, and others. And you know, I just decided, all right, I'm going to buy a furnace. I'm going to melt some silver and see what happens. You know, what's the worst that can happen? I get burned or something. And so, you know, my first pour I did on a live stream. That was we called it the Poured Accord bar. It was actually Clever Coin and Yankee Stacking. They each sent me an ounce of silver, and I melted it together for this bar. And then we sent it around the USA. A bunch of people got to hold the bar and do videos with it, and it went to lots of cool places. And it actually ended up back here. So I have the original bar I poured, my first ever bar. Really, you know, I started my YouTube channel, and I think it was maybe 6 months or so. And then I started pouring, and it's been a blast. It's for
Mhm.
fun. It's to enjoy. It's artwork. And so it's kind of a unique thing. It's a very like hyper niche community. But I really enjoy it, and I have a lot of fun with it.
It looks like a lot of fun. It also, as intriguing as it does seem a little intimidating to someone who's never tried it, but maybe someday I'll try my hand at it. You never know. But other than that, do you have other hobbies? I can only imagine as much content as you put out, and you've got little kids as well. I did see a video or two where you were metal detecting, but do you have other hobbies?
Well, I do like coin collecting, which is super related to stacking. I have a lot of semi-numismatics and things like that.
Mhm.
And so yeah, as far as metal detecting goes, I want to get into it more. In fact, I'm hoping to get some in this next week, and maybe I'll find something cool. I don't know, but I don't get out as often as I would like to. Um, but I live over on the West Coast, and you know, we have a lot of beaches here, and you can
Mhm.
metal detect pretty much all the beaches. It's totally legal. Just certainly a fun hobby, and I hope to do it more.
Very cool. And I've got to ask you, you know, there's been some crazy things going on in the markets lately, and the gold to silver ratio is up over 90. So how does that influence what you buy, and or does it?
Well, there's a few different things you have to look at. So typically, when I'm thinking about making a purchase, the first thing I do is I see if I can further one of my goals. I'm a really big believer that if you have goals as far as stacking,
Mhm.
it will help you to stack faster. It'll help you to be more determined. You know, you'll think, maybe I shouldn't go out to eat. Maybe I should put this money towards this goal so I can get it completed and move on to something else or whatever. So
Yeah.
for me, I'm stacking a monster box of maple leaves,
Uh-huh.
silver maple leaves, and I'm over halfway done. But so usually I try and find cheap maple leaves to further my goal. But other than that, I would say right now I'm mostly just buying silver because the ratio is higher. However, the premiums are higher as well, right? So when the
Mhm.
gold to silver ratio is over 80, then I like to buy mostly silver. And as you mentioned, it's around 90. But if you factor in premiums, it actually does bring the ratio down. I think it's around 70 or 80, depending on the premium of the type of silver you're buying. So I like to try and find good deals. I like to go to my LCS, see what they got.
Yeah,
I
I've been
actually,
enjoying your LCS videos.
yeah, I put out a few. You know, I actually go to I think 5 different coin shops
Mhm.
fairly regularly. And some of them have better deals than others.
Yeah.
But I always recommend for new stackers, get a good LCS, go to as many as you can, build good relationships because that'll help you in the long run. And when you buy silver, really the best place to buy it is locally because if you're ever going to sell it, you're probably going to go back to the same place.
Mhm.
So, you know, build a good relationship early with the coin shops in your area. But yeah, I like to buy locally, and then I like to buy sales online. So I
Mhm.
look at, you know, different bullion dealers and try and find a good deal. I almost always buy stuff that's on sale online. I don't really ever buy anything that's just retail.
Yeah, back to setting goals. I remember when you and Yankee were going head to head. to see who could complete a monster box first. You were a man on fire. You were really hustling to get that filled.
He obviously could have beat me in a second if he wanted to. It was all just kind of for fun.
Uh-huh.
But I'm glad I stacked those Eagles because the premiums on them now are crazy.
Exactly. We talked a little bit about the GSR. You made a video a while back that I thought was like really a great video. You had a phrase that you used for the gold to silver ratio that also incorporated the premiums as well. Is that right?
The gold eagle and silver eagle ratio. So that honestly, at the time, was a perfect example of how to really look at the gold silver ratio, because the premiums on gold eagles and silver eagles were fairly modest when I made that video.
Okay.
But now that the US Mint and all their, I don't know, incompetence, they're not making enough eagles, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And so the premiums are way too high on these things. And this is actually a perfect example of how things change so quickly in the silver world and gold, precious metals in general. But you really have to keep making more videos, putting out new content, because a lot of the older stuff quickly gets dated. Now, that video, you still could do that, but I would not use gold eagles and silver eagles. If I were to do that type of video again, I would probably just use like a 1 ounce gold bar and a 1 ounce silver round. Just find something that's really cheap, kind of low premium, and use that to figure out the real ratio, because spot price, that price is set by the paper market. The futures contracts determine the spot price. But when we buy physical silver, we don't really care about the futures market. We don't care about all this paper trading. We just want to know how much is it to get an ounce in my hand. So really, if you want to look at the gold silver ratio, you probably should be finding the cheapest silver you can, finding the cheapest gold you can, and then come up with your own ratio and use that to help guide you. If, should I buy gold? Should I buy silver? And so, yeah, I mean, that was actually a really fun video, but I feel like maybe it has gotten a little dated.
Time for an update, buddy.
I know. I guess, yeah, I should. Let me go make another video.
Hey, speaking of, being able to, keep up with the market and going along with the times, I seem to remember this is a couple years ago, like your mental number you had in your mind was like $20 for an ounce of silver. And I think back then silver was 17.5, maybe $18. And do you have like a mental number in your mind now? Like, hey, I'm going to stop buying silver. If it gets to a certain threshold, and I'm going to buy like crazy as long as it's below, or do you have like anything set in your mind like that?
Yeah, I mean, when all the crazy stuff happening, all the crazy price swings and everything, I kind of threw all that out the window. But yeah, for a long time, gold and silver prices were fairly steady, from like maybe 2014, 15, all the way to 2019, right? They didn't change that much. There's not these huge ups and downs like you see other parts on the chart, right? And so yeah, I was kind of in my mind, I was like, look, as long as silver's under $20, it's a steal, because I think it should be valued much higher. As far as a number in my mind right now, honestly, I really don't. I feel like as long as you're trying to buy the cheapest silver you can for stacking, then it's okay. I mean, even if silver goes to let's just say $40 an ounce for the paper price, physical silver would probably be $50 an ounce. I'll probably still be stacking at that point, because honestly, I just feel like everything that's going on, our whole system we have with the potential central bank digital currencies coming out. I think everything's going to get a lot worse. And, the more silver, the more gold that you can stack now at whatever price, the better off you'll be for decades to come.
Absolutely. I'm with you 100%. And just winding down, just a couple more quick questions. Congratulations on hitting 100K. And you did that a while back, and you're just blowing through 100K. do you ever? You mentioned you work still, and if I remember correctly, you're an EMT.
Uh, p- Pretty close. So I'm a paramedic,
Okay.
and I've been doing emergency stuff for almost a decade now.
Yeah.
And really, I would like to cut back on that
Yeah.
and focus more on the channel, and focus more, just spend my time in better places, right? Spend more time with my family, spend more time with the channel and with the community. That being said, it's really awesome to help people.
Yeah.
um it's a very difficult job, but it is rewarding in its own sense. But yeah, ultimately I feel like my place is here in the silver community, and trying to put out really helpful content for people that have been around for a while, but also mostly the newer people, because I just feel like we need to spread the word about precious metals. I mean, this inflation tax is ridiculous, and there's no reason that you should have to pay that. Don't have your money in savings. Like, okay, maybe $1,000 in savings, but I would rather have it in cash. But anything
Mhm.
beyond that, I'm like, put it in precious metals. Store your wealth in ounces, not in dollars, because the system is corrupt. It's immoral. It should be illegal, to tax everyone with this inflation. And they control the money supply. We don't control the money supply. I get really passionate about this, and so, but yeah, like ultimately, I would love to just put out like 10 videos a day, like Salivate and some of these other guys, but I just don't really have the time. Maybe when my kids are older.
Yeah, well, thank you for that important work you do as a paramedic. But the work you do on your channel is so important and helpful to so many, you know, thousands and thousands of people around the world. So thank you for that as well. And you keep growing like you are. I have a feeling that time will come sooner rather than later. Before we part ways, Dragons, do you have anything else you'd like to mention to my viewers?
Well, the first thing I want to say, T, is seriously, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. I think that, like I said before, the more people that can get involved in the community, the better off we'll be. If there's someone out there who wants to maybe start their own silver channel,
Mhm.
I say go for it. There can't be too many channels, and there's a lot of information. I know a lot of people maybe make videos on the same type of things, but we can all learn from each other. We can all grow together. So, hopefully, we can add more people as the years go by. And you mentioned earlier that I hit 100,000 subscribers. That would not be possible without the community. I'm just one person. It's really the community. It's all of you. It's your generosity with your time, and this is such a great community. I feel very happy to be a part of it. And thank you again, T. You got a great channel. I see big things for your channel. You're coming up pretty close on 10,000 subs, I think, and you're probably
Yeah,
going to blow past that. So
I'm hoping by the end of the year. But I agree with you. I took the leap of faith coming up on 2 years in November, and I also want to encourage anybody listening who's kind of on the fence about it. Just go for it. I mean, basically, all you need is a phone, and I do everything on my iPhone, and I record everything, and people seem to appreciate it. And Dragons, I just want to let you know once again, I really appreciate your time, and I appreciate what you do for the community and all those people around the world. Thank you.
you're very welcome. I guess I'll just end it how I always do my stuff. Silver Dragons is out.
Man, what a fun interview that was. Hey, special shout out and final thank you to these channel members who helped make this channel possible.